My name is Aysha Zarooni, and simply, I am a student. Let me tell you something. Ever since I was a toddler, I was taught the importance of learning. Maybe not directly by word of mouth, but on others. Be it my mother urging me to walk to her with my unbalanced feet, or the abundance of words she threw at me until I eventually understood them. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is something that I have faced for many years of my education. It is about a thing that I have faced, that I have witnessed, and I think that needs to change today. You see, from the very first moment we open our eyes to gaze upon this world we've been brought into, we learn. We learn to see, we learn to walk, we learn to talk, and we learn to think. It is what we were born to do. In fact, it is what we were meant to do. It is the basis of evolution. Our ability to think, overcoming our instincts. But we all know that already. When children reach a certain age, we decide that parental care is not enough. And so we send them off to large buildings, filled with children of a similar age, bulking them all together, offering them piles and piles of textbooks to eat up, and the superior at their feet to obey until they think they've had enough. For centuries now, this is what we knew about educational methods. Now, I am going to speak today about innovation in education because I think it is important as much as it is important to innovate on other things. Now, in my speech today, I decided to focus on two main levels of education because educational methods are boundless and they spread to a wide range as it all begins from a learning toddler and never ends. But I chose to specifically talk about those two levels of education because I think they're the beginning of authentic learning and the development phase of personalities, characteristics, and dreams. And those two levels are the elementary and high school levels of education. Now, my concern in the innovation in those educational methods mainly comes from my perspective of looking at classes from the past and the present, and unfortunately, seeing no difference between them. Between all the evolution that has happened, and is still happening to different things surrounding us, I can still see that classes remain pretty much the same as they were since centuries ago, known as rooms with a board, desks, and chairs that are set in a symmetrical way. Schools are still known as the places where the day begins and ends when the bell rings. And for centuries now, this is how schools and their educational methods were known to be. They're all about curriculums that are created by policymakers, most of which have never taught a day in their life, who are just obsessed with standardized tests. What I know is that schools have been put to prepare students to develop this world. But what I see today is schools that are made to train people to work in a system, what to do and how to exactly do it. Think about it a bit. Why do we put students in straight rows, nice and neat, tell them to sit still and raise their hands if they want to speak? Give them a short break to eat, and for 8 full hours a day, tell them what to think, do, and read. Why is it that one teacher stands in front of 20 students, each one having different strengths, different needs, and different dreams, and you teach the same thing, the same way, to all of them? I know it's weird and strange thinking of it in that way, but that's true. Since centuries now, we have taught all of our students in pretty much the same way. We've come to believe that this is the one way by which students will learn. But the world has changed, and what it means to be ready to succeed in the future has also changed. That means our educational methods and systems must change. Now, we need people who think creatively, independently, with the ability to connect. If we can customize cars, healthcare, and Facebook pages, then it is our duty to do the same for education. Gone are the days when some students can excel while others just get by. Our society needs all kids to excel and at high levels as well. And to make this happen, we need to engage our students like never before. Although many of you, or maybe others, think that educational methods have improved in a way or another, I strongly believe that the tools are being improved and not the methods themselves. We need to understand that changing chalkboards to whiteboards, then to smart interactive boards, or physical books to online softwares does not mean that the method itself has changed or that education itself has improved. And in fact, I strongly believe that even if those technologies are used in our classes, they are used in the wrong way. Let me tell you something. We went and asked many teachers about what they thought about the technologies used in their classrooms. You know what they said? Technology changed the way we prepared for classes. But not a lot of them said that their daily practices change. And this itself is proof that those technologies are not used in the correct way. Even if those technologies were used in the correct way, tell me, do you think that the future of education can be found in a gadget, application, or software? If you believe in that, then I tell you I don't. Because I believe that the future of education is found within your classrooms. Your classroom is filled with creative potential. You have all the innovation you need right there in your room. You have the power to make it happen. Understand this. Every time your students get the chance to be authors, filmmakers, scientists, engineers, you are planting the seeds that will tomorrow grow to become the future that you on yourself have never imagined would become the future of us one day. And this is why the future of education is in the hands of innovative teachers, and the future of education is you, people who are responsible about those educational methods. Now, what I mainly focus on is how to innovate in those educational methods. And however, I'll tell you something. When it comes to innovating and dabbling in such complex systems, we cannot expect change to happen just like this. And this is why I strongly believe that such worthwhile change needs time and effort for it to actually happen. Unfortunately, today, there is a huge misunderstanding between innovation and invention. And I am here to make it clear. Innovation is as simple as taking something existing and transforming it to something that creates new wealth or improves the well-being of society, or even both. And innovation, to me, and to many others, can be big or small. A little bit different. It doesn't matter. But it all has to start with an idea. And innovation in education is what happens when you experiment. What happens when you give your students voice and choice. What happens when you abandon scripted curriculum and take your students off-road in their learning. And what happens when you teach your students for the future rather than teaching them for tests. This is what innovation in education should be about. Now, in terms of the teaching strategies, today I came up with one solution to present. A solution which combines both the convergent and divergent methods of teaching. And by this, we can get the benefits of both. For those of you who don't know what those methods are, I'll elaborate on them. The convergent method is a currently used method. The method which relies on teachers, which depends on students who get all the information they need from the teachers and are then evaluated, again I say, by standardized tests. Whereas the divergent method, the method I personally support, is a method that gives the students the chance to become active members in the educational system. It is a method that gives them the chance to explore, to go and search for the information they need independently. And this is when students become people who know how to search, how to read, and how to understand things rather than just taking it from other people. Now, we would be fools to think that such system comes without its flaws. The main problem with the divergent system, and I think this is why many people refuse using it, is that the divergent system is so open that we don't know whether students will be able to choose the correct levels of education and to whether or not they're actually benefiting from it. Being a student myself, I know that unfortunately today, many students look for the easy way to actually get done with things and just graduate. Another problem with the system is that some students may not be able to function well under divergent conditions for their strong need for direction, guidance, and structure. However, again I tell you, I'm standing here because I have solutions. And I say again, why don't we combine both methods together by going to something called the guided divergence method? This method is more structured and less flexible than the open divergent teaching, but less narrowing and limiting than the convergent teaching. In this method, even when teachers are teaching students the same material and giving them the same material, they can adapt to different teaching strategies, to different ways of explaining their lessons, by which they can also adapt to the diversity of their students. Today, there is a recognition of the students' diversity, but unfortunately, little has been done to actually adapt to this diversity. And in fact, the oversimplification of adaptation has led to many difficulties in the academic performance of students. And this is why we need to train teachers on how to actually adapt to such diversities, to the diversity in personalities and characteristics and dreams and strengths and needs and in cultural backgrounds. However, just like students, teachers themselves are unique and might find it difficult to adapt to this diversity or to adapt to using different techniques and different strategies in teaching. But again, I have a solution. I know, I almost have each and every single solution ready in my mind for this problem. I have a solution. Teachers can work in teams to come up with ideas and ways by which all of them can adapt to the student diversity. I also believe, and I strongly believe, that not only changing the method is important, but as well as engaging students to the outer part of the world, to take them out of this little box labeled curriculums, to make them know what is real life and what it means to deal with situations, not to deal with books and memorizing them for tests. I also believe that it is important to put education based on problem solving, critical thinking, and thinking of issues that are arising from different aspects of real life conditions. I personally experienced such type of educational method when I was given the chance to actually go out of the board of curriculums and participate in many different exhibitions and competitions. I believe that this way of teaching students and giving them the chance to explore and to go through different experiences will put help and will let help flow through the environment. It will teach students what it means to accept failure. You know why? Because if you never fail, you will never know what it means to truly be a winner. So as I said, I experienced this type of educational method when I was given the chance by the Emirates Foundation to participate in multiple competitions, exhibitions. And you know, for the first time ever, I was so happy that I had the chance to go and search out of the borders of school. That I even searched at very high levels that didn't match my age. But you know, with the support I had and the passion I had, I was able to do the impossible. And this is what I call innovation in education. It is when you teach your students which is when you teach your students what it means to actually go out there and experience life and come up with new ideas. That is because when they do such thing, the knowledge they will gain from such experiences is the knowledge that just like me, I gained that I would have never have gotten from school. And again I say, this is innovation in education. It is when you teach your students the basics of writing a chemical equation, but by making them choose what equation they want to write and experiment with. It is when you give them literature basics, but by giving them the choice to choose what piece they want to read and understand. It is when you help them find their actionable dreams. It is when teachers out there use the technologies they have in the most beneficial way that bring out the positive outcomes of those technologies. It isn't about telling students what the textbooks say and making them memorize it just like we do with robots and electronics. No, it's not that way. And it will never be the correct way to give education to students. I believe that education and their methods should change today because we are facing evolution and many different things. And evolution begins from the students themselves. This is why I tell you today. I tell you today that even though students make 20% of our population, they make 100% of our future. And this is why it is important to begin the evolution in schools, and then you will see evolution spread out to every other place. Thank you.